Hi, I'm Danny Nightmare.
I'm Gory Movie.
And we're Horror Addicts.
And today we're going to be talking about the best movies of 2025.
Yeah, because we watch a lot of horror movies, hence why we're Horror Addicts. And 2025 was no exception. We watched the good, the bad, and the gory. Right?
Yeah, dude.
Anyways.
Look at this!
If you didn't check out our worst of list that we just did on Gory B Movies channel, make sure you go and watch the replay of that. But right now, we're going to talk about the cream of the crop. What rose to the top. The best, at least in our opinions, which could be shit, but whatever.
Looks like you got a new channel member.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Brennan. What's up?
Nice.
Glad to have you.
Nice.
You got that gold green slime there. Nice. We got Flickster in the chat as well. It's party time. Nice.
I think it's because I saw Return of the Living Dead on your intro.
Yes.
It's party time.
I love that song.
So,
Like
sir,
All right, so we got some good stuff to watch here. Let us know in the comments some of your favorite movies of 2025.
Up here so you can see the best.
Yeah. I also have my own list, a little different than yours.
Wow.
You're my guest here, so I'm going to let you pick the first one we start talking about tonight. This isn't in a really specific order. I think we'll save our favorites for the very last, but
yeah.
Other than that.
Jump around. I want to talk about this one.
Ooh, gross.
This movie, dude. So there are a lot of movies about women that men have done very, very well. But for the really nasty shit, the stuff that we only share in our locker room, you need to get female filmmakers. That's where you get the fucking substance and ugly stepsister. This movie does not mess around. This is the nastiest thing I saw all year. Honestly, though, the thing that made me cringe the most was when she popped the zit. I was like, ugh.
Zits, ugh. I hate zit stuff. That's gross. That's even worse than blood and guts for me. I don't care. Ugh. Pus.
It's a lot. So, I mean, naturally, you guys know, just from looking at the poster, that this is going to be from the point of view of one of Cinderella's ugly stepsisters. But I feel like it's more than just a straight-up retelling. I think this movie does a lot to explore the beauty standards pressed
also social
onto
commentary.
Women. And they do it in a way that's really fun and different than what we've seen. Like, yes, they make this girl lose weight and they make her have all these procedures done. They make her wear all these outfits, but then they, like, sew her eyelashes into her eye.
Fake eyelashes sewn through her eye. And the person doing it, like, handing him the hook, she's missing an eye because obviously it didn't work out well for her.
Yeah.
So, like, ugh. Yeah, beauty standards, a lot of social commentary on that, what women have to go through, modern and back in the day. It was even worse back in the day because surgeons didn't have clean hospitals to, you know, it's just different and gross, and you could probably die of infection for almost everything.
And they just treat this poor girl like she's a package to be, you know, married off, to bring them, you know, household goods.
Her and her younger sister seem fairly innocent in the beginning of this movie. She herself is not the most educated person, and she kind of just gets pushed into roles that she didn't ask for and just kind of goes along with it. But the more beautiful they make her on the outside, the, like, uglier she does get on the inside. The more desperate and, like, addicted to her body being a certain way, because that's when people start to value her.
Well, and that's the thing, like, a lot of women, especially if you look at ye old times, the only value they have is either any individual wealth they have, which didn't happen very often then.
Inherit it usually.
Yeah, or their beauty. So this girl is initially not treated as anybody important because she's considered to be ugly. And I feel like the movie did a really good job of showing how barbaric a lot of the things that women do to be beautiful are, by putting it in different contexts. So, like, she does get a nose job, but if you just had a person get a regular nose job like you did today, you wouldn't appreciate just how messed up and scary that is. You know, to get a nose job from, the rhinoplasty place in South Park, or any place. Tom's Rhinoplasty.
Tom's Rhinoplasty.
They
David Hasselhoff special. But especially the early stages of, beautifying yourself through surgery, because surgery was so barbaric in itself back then. Like, you have to really just bash your nose and, like, set it the way you think will make it look good, and somewhat pays off, but it just makes her
And I don't know if they
jump
even
into the
did
next
these procedures, but I think what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is that I like how this movie was creative in the way that they did it for this film.
Yeah.
To make you rethink the fact that women do this. You get your bones broken.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, the really common plastic surgery that a lot of women are getting, it's called like a new facelift. That's where a lot of, even like Emma Stone, like younger people, it's weird, like the younger and younger women who are getting plastic surgery and facelifts and stuff, like women in their 20s. It's insane. And yeah, they take your skin off from the sides of it and then they just pull it back really tight. When you think about this stuff, we take it for granted, but it is really scary. It's like something out of a Saw movie.
Yeah.
And I think Cinderella is a perfect place to explore this stuff in a retelling, because in the Grimm's fairy tale, they do cut off big parts of their feet to fit into the slipper.
Yes,
and
they can show you in the poster right there. They're going that way.
That's already inherently a part of this. And I think one of the nastier parts about it, and again, this is something people actually do, is she swallows tapeworm eggs.
Mm-hmm.
People do this. A lot of people do this. We'll get like tapeworms from other countries and such. And I mean, even now, everyone's getting these Ozempic injections, and that's a diabetes drug. I mean, there are some like Wegovys that they've made for weight loss, but just the things people are putting into their body, and not because it makes them feel good, but because they want to achieve a certain standard that I think is really unattainable.
And tapeworms can be dangerous. Lord Steven Regal, pro wrestler, had to retire because he accidentally caught a tapeworm just from eating abroad, and he didn't know what.
Eat abroad?
Yeah,
Poor
right.
girl.
Don't eat abroad. You might get a tapeworm. She must have put the eggs in her first.
Yeah, but the movie does such a good job of just going through this like the body horror. So she's like puking up eggs and stuff, and then the funny thing is all of this is done so that she can marry well and stuff. But then her actual romantic fantasies about getting married and stuff, everyone treats as being really, really childish and stuff. So it's all like very transactional.
Yeah, that's what's really ugly about this movie.
Yeah.
So.
And I like that they're fair to her too, because again, even just the idea of ugly stepsisters, when you look at like Disney movies, any character that is overweight or ugly is a bad guy.
Yeah.
You would not see anyone with Ursula's body type as a Disney princess. That's how those kind of things have always been coded to us.
Usually.
And so the ugly stepsisters are not supposed to be characters we're supposed to sympathize with, but even though they show some of the complicated nature of this girl, Elvira, she's not a purely innocent person. I think she is a character that you can sympathize with.
Yeah. And even like, I guess some of the evil queens in Disney, they're like at least ugly with vanity, like the Snow White queen, she's so vain. And even Maleficent like turns herself into an ugly beast at the end, like a dragon. So
yeah, so I thought this was really interesting in a way that was fun, that wasn't too on the nose or preachy. It also delivers. If you're going to go with these kind of horror movies that really explore themes and such, I think, one, you need to deliver on the horror part of it. And this one absolutely does. As a body horror movie, this one slaps.
And in fact, I actually liked it a lot more than I even thought I would. Because I was like, okay, Cinderella horror movie, that kind of stuff's been done with, fairy tale horror. But no, it really hit me hard with all that body horror. I did not expect to be so grossed out in a pleasant way for most of it. I don't like pimples.
And see, that's the thing too. I think the challenge when you are sharing something that's very personal to a female experience is to make people who have not had that experience understand what it feels like. And you can't do that by telling them things that they've already normalized. Like, well, she got a nose job. A lot of people are just not going to think about that.
No, they have to show
but this movie does a good job of showing it, so where I think even if you're somebody who's not been raised with this experience, you are like, oh my gosh, that's horrifying. So I think, we talked about another movie on the last stream, Him, and the pressures of all the things you have to do to your body and stuff to be a football player.
Yeah.
It could have taken some notes from this on how to make that more visceral with body horror.
Yeah, Him had its own kind of flavor of body horror. It was more like injury horror related to football. But I feel like this really nailed it. touch down for Ugly Stepsister.
It was really, really good. The performances were good too. I also just like
yeah.
that I didn't recognize a single actor in this, so it was so easy to be immersed in it. I do think it was a little slow to get going, but definitely does pick up, and it is a beautiful film. It's beautifully photographed.
And, the Ugly Stepsisters, she's a very sympathetic, villain. In fact, she's not even really villainous until she becomes beautiful and in a standard, of what people portray as beauty. So I thought it was cool.
She gets a little taste of, this power and this
addicted
prestige,
to it.
and it makes her kind of a shittier person.
Yeah. I don't know how much social commentary that is for people who do become addicted to this stuff. I know that's a very dangerous slope that a lot of people of even both genders, especially in Hollywood, will get addicted to modifying their body to stay relevant and beautiful in the eyes of people who would see them.
They would say about drugs back in the day, how you're chasing the dragon. You're never going to be perfect enough. You're always going to find something wrong with you. And the only way to ever really be happy with how you look is just accepting yourself and finding the beauty that you already have, and not trying to please other people, because you can't please everybody.
You can't stop time, but once you learn to slightly slow it down, you get desperate to slow it down as much as you can. And
I was watching a TikToker the other day who said she couldn't finish Legally Blonde because Reese Witherspoon's teeth were too yellow. Back in the 90s, having the uber white teeth we have now was kind of weird. There's a whole episode of Friends where Ross gets his teeth overly white, and they're like, it's blinding me. So
yeah, we might talk about that later in some of these other movies where people have way too bright white teeth for certain roles.
The standards today are really, really hard to achieve, and I think because of that, this movie is very relevant and timely.
Yeah, regardless of what era it takes place in.
Oracle wants to know what I thought of the live-action Little Mermaid movie. I thought it was fun. I prefer the original. I haven't actually watched a lot of the live-action movies, but I did like that, and I thought the additional songs were good, and the actors did a good job. It was fun.
It was fine. Could have used that crazy chef singing about killing crabs.
Yeah.
That scared me in the original, part where he's all chopping them up, and you see all the dead fish heads and stuff. That was actually pretty creepy, so the live-action was fine.
Perfectly fine. Hi, baby, bless you.
I'm a big fan of the Disney live-actions in general, I've seen the animated versions. I feel like they're just usually superior.
Agreed.
So, let's see.
That kind of goes in with it.
Yeah, while we're kind of doing the same theme here, let's talk about Grafted.
So this is another one where I think if you were a big fan of The Substance, this is the movie you need to see. It's another one by a female filmmaker talking about beauty standards. And this one is it reminded me a lot of The Substance. In the way that the body car is a little more similar to that, as opposed to Ugly Stepsister, it's a little different. But if you liked The Substance, and you need to see Grafted, it's just as simple as that. So I really liked this movie. This girl in this movie, you want to tell them what it's about?
Well, she's the daughter of a scientist. They're Chinese, and he's working on a way to cure them. They both have afflictions. His is on his face, hers is kind of on her neck and stuff. But they have these birthmarks, and he just wants to make them pretty. Plus, he'd probably get a lot of money if he could figure out a way to cure this without a weird evasive surgery. He just wants to get a DNA thing that will take it over. Unfortunately, this is the very beginning of the movie, so I'm not spoiling really too much. His experiment kills him. It works too well, and it kind of covers up his whole face instead. But she keeps his notes, and she's working on it.
Okay, so here's the thing. So they have this. It's not even a birthmark. It's not even just a red. My sister's got a big birthmark on her arm, and it just looks like just redness. Yeah. This is almost like a bubbly thing. It almost looks like a burn. It is big. Unique looking is what I would say. So he develops a serum that heals the skin so completely that it even heals his mouth closed.
His eyes and everything.
And so keeps ripping out his mouth so he can breathe, and it's crazy. And that's the opening of the movie. It's intense.
Now she's a little older, and she's moved to New Zealand to stay with some family there, like an aunt and a cousin, and she's going to school there, university, and there's a professor who's doing a very similar study, and he realizes that she's smart and she kind of knows what she wants, but I think he wants to take advantage of her and perfect this serum so he can be rich, though she's got other plans to use it and test it on herself, because she wants just to be accepted, and her cousin is considered popular and pretty, and she just kind of wants to fit in. She's very off, socially, And she does some creepy stuff, I'm not gonna lie.
She was like Asian Daria.
Yeah, but also a little creepier because she's a little weirdly obsessed with her cousin. So I kind of can see why her cousin's creeped out by her in a way. But her cousin's a little extra cruel than she should be.
There's some interesting stuff in here, too, as far as, like, ethnicity. So her aunt and her cousin are also Chinese, but they've been living in, I think they're in Australia in the movie.
New Zealand, it looks like.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're living in New Zealand. So, her cousin, who's the same age as her, has really rejected their Chinese roots and is embarrassed by, even though she's like, you like chicken feet. She won't admit to liking things like that are considered more exotic in New Zealand that are from China.
She'll only do that at her home and her privacy, and her friends can't know about it.
Like, this desire to fit in is so much that she's rejecting parts of herself, parts of her heritage, and she also, I think, really projects a lot of that on the main girl. What was her name? Wei?
Wei, yeah. Wei.
Yeah, Wei. So, yeah, like, Wei has an altar for her dad and stuff, and anything that's distinctly Chinese, she just treats as really stupid, and she doesn't show it any respect.
She keeps all that hidden from her friends, and she wants to kind of do what she can to keep Wei hidden from her friends as well. Like, Wei is the Daria to Quinn. Like, Quinn never tells her friends that Daria is her sister. That's how it is.
And that's the thing. Like, I've noticed this a lot, and I've seen a lot of people make really good essays and stuff on it about how there's like a certain look everyone's trying to get now. We're not accepting of different people, different looks. You know, a lot of women are getting the same procedures and stuff done. We want uber white, straight teeth, and women have to have no wrinkles whatsoever. It's better to have a Botoxy looking face than to have any kind of wrinkle. And it's just this way of making it to where we lose a lot of the things that make us special and make us unique. And this movie really taps into that way, where it's like kind of creating this like one way of being, this one look. So anything that makes you special, be it your ethnicity or physical characteristic like a birthmark, it has to be gotten rid of. Otherwise it's not accepted.
Yeah. And, well, things for Wei just get way out of control, and Wei herself loses herself, as you said, and kind of takes personalities from other people and does ugly, horrible things that I don't think she would have originally done.
There's something else in this, too, that I think goes back a long ways. If you've read Queen Bees and Wanda Bees, that's the book that they used as the inspiration for the movie Mean Girls. So there's something that happens, I mean, I can't speak for teenage boys or whatever, but with teenage girls, when you're in a group of girls, sometimes there is this pressure for you guys to all be the same, to fit in. And again, that goes back to, like, you know, the one girl, like, ignoring a lot of her Chinese heritage and stuff, but to the point where, like, you see, like, if you remember Mean Girls, she has the shirt where her nipples were cut out of the shirt, and she's like, oh, she just wears it, and then it becomes a trend and everyone starts doing it. You know, copying that popular girl, wanting to be that popular girl, trying to look like her, changing your hair to look like her, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many movies like Single White Female and stuff where a woman will go to extremes to look like a woman she admires. And this movie does it in a fun, metaphorical way. The only spoiler I will give you, but it is kind of implied on the poster, and we do know it's about grafting, which is when you take skin and put it onto something else and then you get them to heal together. Wei learns how to take people's faces.
Like Face Off.
Yeah, so that part of it, some of the science doesn't really add up. Again, like Face Up, how come their whole body changes now?
Right?
How come their height changes? That don't make no sense, but I'm going to let it go, especially because this is a lower budget movie. But what's really impressive about it is multiple actresses in this film do a really, really good job of portraying other characters.
Yeah, like Wei grafts their faces and becomes them, but then that actress that was them is playing Wei playing them, and I feel like they just did a really good job of that.
It was really impressive, and I think that's for me what pushed this into being a 4-star film as opposed to like a 3.5-star film. Is just the performances were really remarkably good,
and just all the cool metaphors that we were talking about and how they make me think a lot. This movie really made me think a lot, not just how she physically looks like them, but she kind of loses her sweet, innocent self when she becomes them. And that's why I feel like a lot of, like you said, teenage girls, teenage boys too, to a group of them hanging out, if one of them's kind of a popular asshole, they'll all kind of be assholes just to be popular and friends with them, you know? You lose yourself and kind of who you truly were, and you make sacrifices of who you were just to fit in.
Just some really good body horror, like on the level of like Monstro Elisa from, I think I'm butchering that, but you know, from The Substance. Really cool stuff like that in here. Yeah, there's just some really neat stuff in here. There's also another subplot of that teacher who's trying to basically steal her father's work and capitalizing on it, which is something that you hear about a lot in a lot of different industries. But I mean, I've heard about it in like, you know, as far as science and stuff, you know, people stealing other people's work and trying to take it as their own.
Yeah, and he's also gross for other reasons too.
Yeah.
If you watch it, you'll understand.
Yeah. So it was really good. I think any movie that leaves me with something to talk to Danny about at the end of it, or to think about, that just kind of lives in your head for a bit, is definitely one that's worth a watch. Thought it was smart. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was bloody as all hell, and certainly made me cringe more than once. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I love movies that have those deeper meanings, but even if you don't get them like at the first watch, or if you don't into those deeper meanings, if it's still a good story on its own, take away those meanings and it's still like a fun, like just, oh, she steals people's faces and kills people. Even if that, it's still a good movie.
I think that's the problem with a movie like Woman in the Yard is, yeah, they're talking about something that's important in there. They're talking about grief in that movie. But if you take the grief allegory out, you don't have anything left. You're just treading water. You're just burning that runtime. Whereas this movie, you can take out all the subtext of what it's trying to say about beauty standards, and you still have a really impressive body horror with interesting characters that develop over the course of the film.
Yeah, like any movie that does that is really good. Like They Live will always be one of the best movies, because even if you don't understand all the subtext about how the government controls us, like if you just think it's Rowdy Piper shooting aliens and kicking ass, it's a great movie either way. So
yeah,
and that's how I feel about Grafted and like other movies that do it well. They can give you stuff to think about, but also just be on a pure level of just entertainment as well.
Going here towards kind of, let's see, that's my top 10, I guess. I'm going to talk about this one. This is one that came out at the very beginning of the year, so I'm worried some of you might have missed it, so I do want to talk about this. And Presence, the reason what I particularly liked Presence, and I'm not a cinema snob. I honestly don't notice a lot of times, like, oh wow, they used a freaking Dutch angle there. Like, I don't really give a shit. I'm more focused on the story. But the way this movie is filmed is so impressive and so innovative, and I think camera angles and stuff like that should be utilized creatively to tell the story and to enhance the audience's experience. And this movie is shown from the point of view of this presence, this ghost in this family's new home. And so the camera movements where it's from the ghost's point of view are really, really interesting. And they do a fantastic job of giving personality to this being that doesn't even have a body.
Yeah. It's kind of like The Ghost Next Door, but just really well told from the point of view. Yeah.
You can explain your references.
Ghost Next Door is where a girl finds out she's been the ghost the whole time. It predates The Sixth Sense. So, I don't know. But it feels like it did a really good job of letting me realize kind of what it feels like to be a girl/ghost that, you know, kind of has to deal with her own problems. And there's also like some time travel-y stuff going on.
So yeah, it's interesting because they say that there's a presence in the house, and the presence doesn't know who they are, what they need to do, and so it's kind of fun to kind of go on that journey with this entity and try to suss out what it is they're doing there, why they're in the house, and yeah, it's interesting. And then the family's also just massively fucked up. You've got Lucy Liu as like this crazy mom who's like way too obsessed with her son. Creepy. And just her favoritism of him, and it just deals with a lot of stuff that's really just interesting. Again, the characters, you take the supernatural stuff out of this, the characters are interesting enough on their own and how they're dealing with a lot of stuff. So one of the things they're dealing with is the main character in this girl. She has a friend who was essayed at school, and a lot of people don't believe her, and including like her brother and stuff, and it's caused some tension. And they've also had it like, I think they switched her school and such. So yeah, I think it's all really interesting and stuff. And then you have this added issue with the presence in the house.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of that, dramatic irony where like we can see stuff from the point of view of the entity, and so we know more than the family in this house knows. And then you have that like frustrated feeling where you're like, oh my gosh, get out, don't do this. And I think it really puts you in the point of view of that spirit and how helpless they are, because they can't do anything. They're incorporeal.
Right. And there's also just like good arcs. Like her brother's kind of a shithead, but he has a great arc at the end. Like he comes around when it matters. So people learn, they live. I enjoyed it.
It's almost, it's not found footage, but in the way that it's from the point of view of just this presence, parts of it feel like that because the way the camera moves, or like the parents might go outside of the porch to have a conversation, and so like the entity, if it's still inside, you're going to see it through the window. So I thought it was just really effective at putting you in this mindset of this entity.
Yeah, I agree.
And I thought the twist and stuff at the end was pretty good too. I'm not going to spoil that, but it was good. Now what?
We've
been doing a lot of body horror. Yes, no.
Let's go with that.
What?
All right, let's not go with
Fine.
that.
You know what? Fine, Dan.
All right, as far as franchise installments go, this is top notch. This is probably my favorite in the whole franchise, to be honest.
This is my favorite of the Final Destination franchise. So, this movie had no right to be so freaking good. Like, it wasn't hardly advertised. And, even when the beginning of the year, I was looking at movies I was anticipating, right? And Final Destination Bloodlines. And I remember so many people groaned, which I don't really understand, because to me, the Final Destination franchise is really good. I think the only miss has been, I think it was part 5. It's the one with the racetrack. And even that one I don't hate.
I think it's just because when you throw Bloodlines on the end of a sequel, it's never always that great. It's just like, okay, at best. Sometimes they suck.
Yeah, so this one ended up being really good, and it did what a lot of movies this year didn't do. It thought about, why do people love this Final Destination franchise? What characters are important to them? So, like, Bloodgood, the character played by Tony Todd, is really important. They thought about the things that make this franchise important. The characters, the kills. Obviously, that's why you watch a Final Destination movie, is to see how people die in creative ways.
Yeah. But a lot of people were just kind of hyped, and like in a sense that they're like, oh, we know this is gonna be Tony Todd's last movie, and we're gonna definitely check it out for that reason. But then you leave, and you're like, they not only did him really well, like, and really gave him his due that he deserves, but then the rest of the movie actually is good too. Like, it wasn't just because Tony Todd was the last movie. Like, that part's great, and I love it. The rest of the movie holds up as well, which is that was kind of a surprise for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, Tony Todd's scene is really heartbreaking too. What they did with Tony Todd is they didn't even script his scene, and he's not an image. Guys, like, he's dying of cancer. But they did say, right now, just say what you want to say goodbye to your fans of your films. And so that was his unscripted kind of goodbye. And I think that's why it feels like this real moment. And it feels authentic. Yeah. Because it was. And the other thing I think this movie did that was really good, and it tackles like one of the issues with this franchise. This franchise is not known for its good characters. Even the first movie, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I cannot stand Claire. I find her highly annoying. I want to hear you, but not if you're going to keep telling me all this bullshit. Oh my god, shut up, Claire, and your stupid sculptures. Oh my god, suck an egg. At any rate, the characters have not been super strong in this franchise. Some of them are downright awful, like in the NASCAR-y one.
Oh, that was the worst one of all.
So this
4,
one,
I think.
I actually gave a shit about this family. The premise here is that, I guess, death's cleaning up house. And so anybody who is related to anyone that should have died, therefore these are people that shouldn't exist, is going to be killed. And so it's going after this one family in particular because they're the descendants of somebody who survived essentially the Space Needle blowing up. It's not set in Seattle or anything, but we're Washingtonians and we're proud of our Space Needle. So I loved that too, because anybody from Washington has been on the Space Needle and just thinks to themselves, like, how the heck is this thing standing up? It's revolving around. You gotta take an elevator to go up. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was revolving restaurants /
There
club.
was even somebody who was in a revolving restaurant, I think I heard recently, who fell off. So
Yeah, maybe.
there
Crazy
it's
stuff.
not something that happens often, but I mean, when you're up there and you're on like the Space Needle in particular, and you're on the outside, you can't help but think, "Holy crap,
There's just like
that's a long way down."
any type of tall structure that has kind of like that glass floor, like for thrills. But it's I mean, imagine falling through that.
So yeah, the kills are really good. The suspense is really good. It has that great tension that you get from something like a Saw movie or a Final Destination movie, where they show you all the cogs in this Rube Goldberg like situation where you're like, oh crap, that's gonna go there, and then this is gonna fall over there, and that's how they're gonna die, but still manages to surprise you. But I think what I was saying earlier that I kind of lost my train of thought on is I actually liked the family in this. Like, there's this one kid in the movie. He's one of the brothers, and they know he's gonna die soon. He's so cute, and I love that they're taking care of each other. I mean, it's not the first time characters in a Final Destination film have tried to help others survive.
Yeah.
But to the point where, like, it felt really genuine. Like, when they're at the hospital and everything, I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, I feel like there was some good twists in there as well, like where you set up one way, but then it like gets you from the other side.
And I thought those twists were really relevant too, especially if anyone's ever done an ancestry or
Right?
Yeah, so
You probably felt very relevant because
Yeah.
you recently discovered a sister through.
Yeah, and just also getting in touch with like estranged family members and stuff too, and looking at if somebody were to survive for a really long time, what would that look like? What kind of person would that be? How would other people treat them? I think all that's really interesting, and I'm glad we finally got to explore that in this film, because it's something that hadn't been done before. A lot of the movies are the same thing over and over again. I also really love that this movie isn't trying to tie it all back to the freaking Flight 183. Like, why Death, why are you so excited about this freaking plane that went to France, dude?
Plus, I mean, this ties that and everything else back to even farther, so it was kind of cool. And part 2 has been my favorite up until this point, because it not only had a really cool opening, but then like the characters.
Because the guy from Onyx the Fortuitous one's in it.
No, but I do like that now, in hindsight. But it also had like characters, like they actually kind of had like a plan that might work and give you hope. And for some reason, like the movies that came after that never kind of went back to that plan up until now.
See, that's the thing. There was also another one of the movies. It's called, I think it was The Final Destination. I get the names
I think
mixed
the one
up.
with the bridge.
But the one where they believe that if you killed somebody,
Yeah.
that you could buy your life. And I'm surprised more of these movies haven't explored ways of protecting themselves aside from just make sure nothing that can kill you is around you.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them are hit and miss, and a lot of times we just watch them for those like Rudberg device deaths, because those are always entertaining, but that's usually all they offer. This one offers a lot more to the franchise than just that.
Yeah, and especially because a lot of the movies, they just do it by taking themselves away from danger. But even Clear Rivers in that padded room, I'm like, there's paper in there. She could get a paper cut. She could choke on her own tongue. There's so many things that could happen. So, yeah, this was actually interesting and something we hadn't seen before. And it's crazy, too, because I thought the trailer was kind of crap. Initially, I was excited about it. And then I saw the trailer, and it was just the guy in the tattoo shop. And I was annoyed because I think the best Final Destination kills are where you can look at it, like that log kill, and you're like, oh, crap, I've been in that situation before. We've all thought that. Or the laser eye surgery, or the tanning bed, things that we've all experienced. And then when you go to those experiences again, you think of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what scenario is a guy getting his piercing stuck to a ceiling fan relevant? And I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of a bummer. But I'm glad they showed that part of it, because it was one of the weaker parts of the movie, and the rest of the movie's pure gold. So I love that the trailer didn't spoil the best parts.
Yeah. Okay, so 4 is the one that's called The Final Destination.
Okay, thank you.
But I did know that 4 was the racetrack and 5 is the bridge. I just don't remember which one's called The Final Destination.
Yeah, I can never remember either.
Just call them by their numbers at this point. Or bloodlines, at least. I'll remember
Yeah,
that.
I like actually having a tagline to it.
Yeah, that's nice. But, anyway, so yeah, I was actually very pleased about this, because I was like, well, I'm looking forward to saying goodbye to Tony Todd with giving him his roses that he deserves. And I figured the movie was going to at least do that, but then it also delivered on being a really good installment to its franchise, my favorite, so.
Yeah, this is my favorite of the franchise. And then probably part 2 after that. I don't know. One of these days we should rank them.
I think I have them ranked on Letterboxd, but yeah. So, I was happily surprised. I went into with low standards on the movie itself, but came out very enjoying it.
I think our boys want to go outside.
Alright, I guess I can do that real quick. You entertain.
What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. I gotta take dogs outside.
I guess I'll talk about some that...
Can you put the dog outside for a while?
Thanks, babe. Hi. That's my child. Oh, loin fruit. Move that, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright.
Okay, so now what do you want to talk about?
Speaking of dogs, Good Boy. Let's talk about that. That was definitely one of my favorites.
Good Boy.
I love this movie. This is like in my top 3, I think.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I
I
love
think
the dog.
for some people who didn't like it, it is a very slow movie, but the thing is, it's also really short. Please give me more short movies that are not short films. Not every movie needs to be 2 to 3 hours long. This is a nice, clean 73 minutes. Also, stick around after the credits. At least I hope they still do it. In the theatrical version they did. There's a featurette about how they made the movie.
And that was almost as enjoyable, if not more, than the movie itself. So
Yeah.
I loved it. Indy the dog is an amazing character. Like, great actor. When you see that behind the scenes footage, you can kind of see, like, they'll show the most intense scene in the movie. But then really how they made it is the owner's just going quack, 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 and the dog's just like, huh?
Well, yeah, they explained that Indy is such a smart dog that all they had to really do was say words that he didn't understand. So he understands words like, obviously, like his name and treat and stuff. But if they said something weird like quack, 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 he would make this like confused face. And then, you know, they changed the lighting and the music, and you looks like Indy's terrified. But they explained that the dog was never ever in any danger. The dog had no idea that they were in a movie. They only filmed this for like half an hour to a couple, you know, an hour at a time
For over 3 years.
Over the course of 3 years. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable experience, and the dog was never harmed or anything. And they do creative stuff in the film. Like at one point, somebody does take the dog and grab it, but they show it with the silhouette of its shadow, which I think is smart. And they also have like a stuffed dog they use for some stuff. It's also interesting because it puts you really in, like, kind of how we talked about presence puts you in the point of view of the spirit.
Yeah.
This puts you in the point of view of the dog. And so imagine being this being that doesn't understand the language of their bestest buddy that lives with them, but they have senses and they know something is wrong.
Yeah.
And how do you warn them, and how do you communicate that you know something bad is happening? And then it's also interesting from a filmmaking point of view of how they show what the dog is thinking without having the dog speak.
And the way they really highlight the dog is they don't really have a lot of the humans like in focus. So every once in a while you get a little bit of a face, but most of the time they're just kind of there. And like if you really were a dog, you know, knee level and stuff, that's not the things you'd probably would be focusing on. Like you'd know that you're, you know, a human's there, and if they're good or bad, and you'd be excited either way. But the dog is really sensing something. Like there's some sort of somewhat evil presence in this house that they're out in the woods. It's like the main character's dad passed away, and now he's going out there, but he's also sick, and the dog kind of senses all this, and it senses something that it really wishes it can stop.
Dogs can sense like cancer and stuff, so like that's a part of it. But there are supernatural elements of it, including other entities that the dog encounters in the house, and some of them are trying to help.
Yeah, and it's sweet and loving, but also very heartbreaking. Like it's
really sweet, just because I think, you know, the humans are going to be able to pick up on what's actually happening, but seeing it from the point of view of the dog is just really, really sad. And then you're also like, how's this dog going to get out of this? There's also not a lot of characters in the movie, so you're just like, crap, Indy, no. Like I think it's just easy to really root for a dog character because, you know, most people just love dogs, and they're so innocent and sweet, and he's so caring, and he just wants to be a good boy.
All right.
So yeah, it's really easy to root for Indy, and yeah, it was a really sweet movie.
And
great use of a low budget.
Oh yeah, very
single location.
Indy the dog starred in a very indie movie that did just really well, and I'm glad it played in our theaters. So
Indy was the dog's name.
Yep, Indiana Jones reference there. Well, what do dogs like to do? they like to go for walks. Long walks sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about the long walk.
This was a really surprisingly good movie. I think for me, this is like in my top 5. I can't remember where. I think it's like 3 or 4.
Yeah. You did a whole podcast episode on this, didn't you?
Yeah. I did, for the Strange and Unusual Book Club, I did a whole episode on just the book, and then we did one on the book versus movie. And what I found really surprising is a lot of readers of the book kind of rejected the movie. And I agree they changed some things, and the movie is saying different things, but I think they are things that are maybe a little more relevant than what the book was saying, and I think they had to be updated since the book is very much a commentary on the Vietnam War.
Yeah. I wasn't happy about some of the characters being melded together, because I felt like sometimes those characters had more impact being separate characters, but I do feel like otherwise it capitalized the book pretty well. As much as I was like, oh damn, reading about people getting shot, seeing it and hearing that noise, especially in the surround sound on the big screen, it felt like you are on the street walking with them, and like someone did get shot next to you. It felt that way.
There's one part where a whole bunch of them are getting shot a lot, and the sound design, like, I jumped every single time, and I'm not somebody who jumps during movies. It was just a lot, and the way it uses tension and builds dread. Yes, they made some changes from the book, but I think most of the changes they made were good.
I will say the 2 main characters, the changes they made for them, I think are a vast improvement. They became very likable, where in the book, I had a hard time rooting for either of them for various reasons. But in this version...
In the book, the kids are all super hornified, so if you've ever read a Stephen King book and you're like, dude, why? Why? Why are we talking about kids' boners and shit?
Right.
But, sometimes Stephen King just puts weird, pervy shit in his books for no frickin' reason. And they got rid of all that, and they made the characters a lot more likable. Like the story behind how McFreeze gets his scar is completely different in the movie, and it's a lot better in the movie, and the characters are more sympathetic, and just you really root for them. Like Cooper is a character here who wants to take down the system that's allowing the long walk to exist, whereas in the book he doesn't even know why he joined the long walk. Like it adds so much more meaning, I think, to the character's decisions.
Yeah, he kind of just walked into the story in the book, like literally just walked into it blind, not knowing what he was even doing and why he was even doing it. In this, he actually has a lot of reason. And Mark Hamill did an amazing job, by the way. So, there you go.
And I really liked Burtok. I think that's my favorite character, played by Charlie Plummer. I thought he was great in this because it's just a complicated character. And I think it's easy to root for kids who are, heroic and, good. Like, I love how in this, unlike in the book, Cooper Hoffman's character, Garrity, he's trying to help every kid who's starting to fall behind or who falls down.
He's got a bleeding heart, and it shows a lot better in this movie.
He's easy to root for, but there are other kids there where, they're just young. They're young, and they shouldn't be in this situation, and they're a product of just their shitty government.
Yeah, so I thought it was a great adaptation. And I'll just do this because the winner gets a wish. And I like McFreeze just kind of wants to wish that 2 people can win, so that way you and your friend can live together. That's all he wants.
And he wouldn't even benefit from that.
I know.
That would have to be for future walkers.
Exactly.
And in the book, they never even say if anyone's ever won or what they got. I love how this one added the story where remember that guy who wished for an elephant? He just wrote it home.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That's so cute. So I thought it was really interesting, and I think it's a book, or it's a movie, well, book too, but I think it's a movie that leads to a lot of good discussion, and it is, like we said, horrifying, and the book has a different ending, but it is one that's just as complicated and worthy of discussion as the books.
Yeah, I recommend both, to be honest.
I do.
For different reasons.
I actually like the book, or I like the movie better.
I like the main characters better in the movie, but I think I like the book just a smidge better, but barely.
And yeah, we also got, it's not a horror movie.
Yeah.
But I liked The Running Man. It's another Bachman book that got a remake this year. I liked that a lot too. I liked that better than the book as well. It's making me kind of hungry for dystopia again. Like, we had kind of a YA dystopia boon for a while there when we got like the Hunger Games, and we got just a whole bunch of them for a while there. But
these are old school Stephen King dystopia.
there are other dystopian novels that haven't really been adapted, and so I'm glad we got this one. One I just finished reading, Tender as the Flesh, where
sounds like that'd be
all the
interesting on
animals in
film.
the world have been exterminated because of a virus, and so people are breeding humans just for the sake of meat. That book was a lot. It was a huge just gut punch.
Why would they eat people? They could just have Soylent Green. That stuff's great.
Exactly. But yeah, so I want more dystopia about that, because I think especially when there are times when countries are going through economic and turmoil and stuff like that, I think dystopian stories really are able to explore those kind of fears in a way that other ones can't.
Yep. I have a more in-depth review that'll be coming out on this channel about this eventually. I'm just having a hard time editing it, but it'll be out soon. And meanwhile, though, my wish is to give you guys a reward. How about 5 memberships?
So do make sure that you have the option in your YouTube account to receive memberships, or turn it off if you don't want it. But yeah, anybody who has a monetized YouTube channel, I think, has the ability to gift 10 a month. So yeah, I think this is the first time Dan's ever done it.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Or do I not have the ability to do that?
You have to maybe turn yours on.
Oh, is there a way to do that? Oh.
Let me see.
Maybe I can. I'd have never done this before, so.
I've done it on my channel before. I'll look. Okay, I'm gonna look into that while you do something else. You find a movie you want to talk about.
All right, let me see which ones are on my...
Dude, there's other movies on this list that are really good.
Oh, you didn't have it pulled up until now.
Bruh, it's right there.
All right, I want to give this a shout out. It's not the highest rated by my thing, but I probably saw this movie more than any other movie last year, and it is K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, I love the animation. It was fun, and I don't know, it just became more relevant every time I watched it, and there's a reason why it's a huge trend.
It's kind of funny because initially, I think like a lot of people, I was like, oh, that sounds really fun and silly. And it ended up being surprisingly heartfelt and good. I also just like the way women were portrayed in this, you know, how they It's
kind of maybe this generation's got almost Buffy the Vampire Slayer in a sense. These are powerful women who, strut their stuff, look cool, and kill demons.
They all stuff their faces and they fart and they do normal stuff, but they're also
couch.
Yes. So I really liked them. Like a lot of the strong, independent heroine women, they don't allow them to ever get boy crazy or anything, and these girls,
they get boy crazy.
Oh yeah, they're super into that whole soda pop thing.
Oh yeah, and they're all three have their own kind of personality to which girls can relate to. There is one that is like a little more strong and stoic and quiet, but that's not all three of them. Like, it's usually, if a woman's cool, that's usually how she's portrayed. But no, they have the cute little feisty one, and like the one who is, the meaning is to basically be yourself, because she's hiding her true self from her friends, when in reality they'll accept her and love her if they knew the truth, but hiding herself is what hurts their friendship. Anyways, quick little shout out to that.
I liked it.
Whew.
Now what do you want to talk about?
Which one should we talk about?
This one.
How about that one?
Fine.
So, speaking of girls, this is one of the things I didn't like. The same people that did the Talk to Me did this.
Yeah, the guys from Rocka Rocka.
From Rocka Rocka. And I wasn't super into Talk to Me. I thought it looked really good, but there was a lot about the plot and stuff that just was like, okay, I don't know why this is so hyped. I admit, I was just not feeling it. I feel like, I guess if I had an ability to look at a creature and talk to it, last thing I would say is possess me, but apparently it was the first thing everybody wanted to say to a creature like that, especially when they look like a giant bulbous snot monster. Why would you want that in your body?
No idea.
However, this one made a lot more sense to me with motives. They're messed up motives, very messed up, but I understood it, and it's just... Hold on. Rooster Watson. Come on. Hurry up. And when you lose loved ones, you're almost do anything. Like, if they were your life and everything you could do to get them back, as messed up as it is, I can see people doing that just to get back people that they really want. Because death, unfortunately, can destroy you, especially if it's not your own death. Like, that can destroy you worse than your own death. And I think it was just a really good storytelling of those brothers, or the people that do Raka Raka, and I feel like they did even better. And I went into this with really low bar. I felt like they did beautiful visually. It's gross, it's disgusting, it's messed up, and has a lot of like child abuse and manipulation. So I can say, I guess, big trigger warning there, but it's just a really good story. And
it's really dark, but I also really liked the relationship between the brother and sister, which is at the forefront of it. And then Sally Hawkins, who's in it, she was also in Shape of Water. She was really, really good. And it's one of those things where you don't agree with the bad guy in it, the villain, but you definitely understand where they're coming from and sympathize with them. Plus, there's just some really, really horrific moments in this, very violent moments. I think anything that deals with kids can be really scary. And yeah, there's some parts in this that are really shocking.
Yeah.
And scary.
So, it might not be a fun watch, but I think it's definitely one that you should check out. Like, I'm glad I did. It was pretty high on my list, like, the moment I saw it, and not too many things went above it. I hope they continue to make more. Like I said, I enjoyed Talk to Me. It wasn't what everyone was telling me how amazing it was. For this one, I feel like maybe this one's a little underrated, honestly.
I honestly think so, because I feel like Talk to Me got a lot of buzz, and with Talk to Me, I just really couldn't get invested in the characters as much. And like you said, I understand the whole thing, like, according to the Raka Raka brothers, is supposed to be, or Raka Raka channel, is supposed to be
drugs,
an allegory for drugs, and
yeah.
So they know it's dangerous, they keep going back in. But with the whole
take away that allegory,
possession thing,
falls
that just
apart
seemed
a little bit.
really, really scary, and so I had a hard time just investing in it. Where in this one, it had definitely a lot of intrigue and mystery that keeps you going, and then when you start to get the reveals, they do make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and so it's one to watch out for, but be in the mood when you see it, that you aren't going to have a lot of fun, but you'll probably enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, I really liked it. I give it 4 stars.
Yeah. But not every horror movie has to be fun. Some of them are good when they're brutal, and I feel like that was probably the most brutal movie of the year for me.
It was really brutal, and I think that is the only thing that does kind of hurt it, is a movie that brutal and sad. I don't know how much rewatch value it is. It's one of those things you watch once, but even something like Hereditary, just because the scares are really, really good, I think it's got rewatch value. I don't know if I'd ever watch Bring Her Back again, but I am glad I experienced that film, and I don't think I'll ever forget seeing it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll watch it a few times, but it's one of those where you got, like I said, you got to be in a mood, because it hits hard. It does not hold its punches. Like, Dangerous Animals. They don't hold their punches. I like segues.
Zigma gifted a horror membership. I don't know. I've tried turning yours on.
Afraid I'll have to figure out it later, I guess. Sorry. I've never done that before, so sounded like fun.
I don't know. I'll keep working on it.
Anyways, we got Jai Courtney, Captain Boomerang himself, driving around in a little boat, giving people tours, letting them swim with the sharks. But he literally lets them swim with the sharks, like cage-free style.
Yeah, so one of the, I guess, sub-genres of horror that I take issue with sometimes is creature features, because I don't like when animals are demonized, or they anthropomorphize them to such a degree where they're experiencing
wolves are
like
evil, sharks are evil,
revenge and things like that. Like
grizzly too, yeah, the revenge.
Animals don't experience those kind of emotions like that. They're not like us. I mean, an animal will protect itself and it will protect its young, but it will not hunt you down Liam Neeson style.
Jaws 4, the revenge.
This movie is good because the animals behave like animals. I mean, it takes actually a lot for a shark to attack you. A lot of times when sharks bite people and stuff, and they realize it's a person and not something they normally eat, they just let it go. It's just not what they do. And even in this movie, I like how it shows how he struggles to get the animals interested in the prey. He has to do a lot of chumming of the waters and stuff.
Manipulate the situation.
But yeah, it's kind of like Eaten Alive, where he's a serial killer who's using the animal to kill his victims.
Exactly. That way there's, no corpse. It's fun for him. He films it. He's creepy. He's Jai Courtney. What do you expect? But it's great because, like you said, like sometimes movies are just like, well, wolves are evil because they're evil. Like even, we might talk about it a little bit later, the Frankenstein movie that came out, it had just evil wolves for the sake of evil wolves, and I'm tired of stuff like that, and a lot of shark movies definitely do that. And it's sad because humans kill sharks on a tremendously higher scale than they ever kill us. For like almost every 1,000 sharks, they kill one of us. It's almost that high.
Yeah, we're a much bigger danger too.
So even Jai Courtney talks about it like circumstantial, like he manipulates the situation to make this happen. He gets very frustrated when it doesn't work out the way he wants it to, but that's just kind of how it is. But he's also a very scary, dangerous animal himself, and the acting in this I felt was just superb. We got Hassie Harrison. I don't even know her from really anything, but she was amazing.
She was really good in this.
Yeah, she is one of my nominees for Final Girl of the Year. So yeah, I remember Southbound.
She was really good.
So I think she's.
And I really liked her character. Mm-hmm. She's living in her van and stuff.
She wants to surf and
yeah,
avoid reality because sometimes people are tough in some ways, but they're soft in other ways. That's just kind of how it is. They don't want to face reality sometimes. But she has a great arc. There's other characters in here that I think did a great job. There's a dangerous little dingo in this movie. So, I don't know. I had a lot more fun with this than I expected. I thought it was going to be just another shark movie and completely blown out of the water with it. And I watched this a few times too. I had great rewatch value. I showed it to a few people and happily enjoyed it every time I saw it.
Alright, sorry I can't figure out the whole gifting memberships thing. I'll figure it out for you next time.
Alright.
I never think of Baby Shark the same way again. Yeah. Control Freak? I haven't seen that one. It didn't look very good. I've seen. They also copied that movie poster with the bug in the eye from a couple other movies too. So
right.
I am getting tired of seeing a lot of the same movie posters duplicated. I think the poster for Dangerous Animals is really good. I like how it looks like a shark fin. So this was really, really good. And then Sean Byrne, the guy who made it, he's also the guy who did The Loved Ones and Devil's Candy.
I love those movies too.
So I feel like he's really good at being creative with relatively simple concepts. And yeah, the acting and everything was top notch in this. And I think definitely one of the best final girls we've seen in a long time.
And I feel like all three of those movies are very different, but they're all very good. So
yeah,
I like to see some more from him. All right, why don't you pick one?
Okay.
I've been chumming the water enough as it is.
Ew. Where are we at? 8 o'clock? Okay. I'm gonna pick. This was one of my favorite movies of the year, and what's really wild about this is I think this is now one of my favorite Christmas movies. I've only seen it the one time, so I gotta see how it holds up on a rewatch, but I am surprised this was only in cinemas for a week in our town, and this was good. It is by far the best Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, including all the remakes and sequels. It's the best in the franchise, by far. However, I'm not a super huge fan of the original. I like it. It's just not something I watch a ton. And it does tonally change things up a bit. So whereas the original is really sleazy, this one's it's pretty innocent as far as sleaze goes.
Yeah.
It's not quite a Hallmark movie, but it takes a different approach with Billy. But I think the world building in this is so much more interesting than what we get in the original. And this movie has fun without ever being a horror comedy. It's still a very good traditional slasher. And it plays with the concept of Santa Claus and, punishing the naughty in a way that's unique. So it's doing its own thing. And it delivers. It delivers on the kill. It's got a much bigger body count than the original.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Yeah. I love the original. I think it is amazing. And I will watch that several times as well as this. But I feel like this paid enough tribute to that, but also did enough of its own thing. It's certainly not disrespecting it. There's fun little Easter eggs that go with that, but also Easter eggs that pay tribute to Black Christmas and maybe Christmas Evil as well. If you're really in there, it seems to love the genre that it's in, and that's another thing. It felt like it's
a Silent Night, Deadly Night too.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a Garbage Day reference even. So it's it's made clearly people who are fans and that really shows. And I had a lot of fun with this. I don't know if I like it more than the original, but I do like it differently than the original, and I love it just as much.
I think what I like about the original, like my favorite part of the original, is Billy as a character, because I do sympathize with that character a lot. He's just somebody who's been broken by circumstances that have been outside of his control, and you just see him, and when he gets that job at the store, you're just like, he has a chance here. He has people who care about him, but then it just goes all so horribly wrong the moment they put him in the Santa costume. And in the 80s, I think that movie being something that came out in 1984, I think it's really relevant, because I think a lot of 80s kids, we were told, like, you don't put up boundaries and say, no, that crosses my line. I have a traumatic incident with Santa Claus. I'm not wearing your fucking suit. Like, you just did, if you were younger, you just did what people told you to do. Don't make a fuss. Don't make anything about it. So it was really, really relevant. And in this one, I think even more so, you see the bond Billy has with this new kind of found family he has at this store, how they've taken him in, and he's never really had a family. And you really feel for this character, even though he is the killer in the movie, and you're rooting for him to maybe find a way that's going to get him out of the situation.
If there's only a way he could quit the life and just settle down, and he might have a future, and you really hope that for him, because even despite the fact that he is a killer, he's a very sympathetic killer. And we're not going to tell you exactly why, but you find out pretty early, and I think if you give it a chance, you'll be rooting for Billy, too.
But I think that's in line with the original, too, because I felt sympathy for Billy, too. Not so much for Ricky, but Ricky's hilarious, his younger brother. But Billy, I mean, he witnessed his mother and father killed right in front of him at a young age, and then he grew up in a horrible orphanage where he was abused repeatedly, and nobody was sympathetic to him, and so, I think both Billies are very sympathetic, and I think Rowan Campbell was the best choice for the role, and he certainly showed that he was capable of playing a big range when he did Halloween Ends. Yeah. And I thought it was really sad with the backlash he got for people not liking Halloween Ends.
He did a great job.
He did a great job. Sorry, he didn't write the movie.
He didn't like the plot, I'm sorry, but he was fine.
He did his job.
He did what he was told to do, and I think this is going to make people at least happier with what he's doing.
How he went from being like that sweet, naive babysitter to this deranged killer at the end of the film.
Yeah. I
think it really showed he had it, and this, you have that too, because Rowan Campbell, even though he's a man in his 20s, he does have a certain amount of innocence to him, and I think you need that to play Billy.
Yeah.
Somebody who has some innocence to him. But he also can be very dark when he wants to be. He's just really good at showing emotion with his eyes and stuff. And I also, for me, I like a little bit of heartwarming in my Christmas horror movies. Not a ton. Don't give me like a whole lot of like sappy crap. But, think about like Gremlins, like how the family is together and the bond between Billy and Gizmo. Right. I like a lot of movies like that have just a little bit, or at least tie into the themes of Christmas. I think that's what makes something a Christmas movie. If it ties into the themes of, Christmas, about, how people should treat other people and that kind of thing. So,
Billy, you're hoping Billy gets that Christmas miracle.
Yeah, it really is just a great Christmas horror movie.
Yeah.
And so much fun without being cheesy or campy, which does not bother me. I like those things, but I know that is a deal breaker for a lot of people, where they're like, oh no, it became a horror comedy, I'm no longer interested. So it doesn't go too far with it, but it does have fun. I will say, when I first started the movie, I was a little hesitant.
Yeah.
Because immediately, if you've seen the original, you're like, they're doing something really different here. What is going on here? Just wait it out. It reveals it pretty early on what's going on, and I think it makes the movie even more interesting.
The part where he has kid trauma is almost the same scene, but they like kind of spun it on its head, and you'll figure out why once you see it. And you'll be like, oh, I actually like that twist.
I also love when a mystery is set up, but when you look back, you're like, no, the evidence was all there, but they're playing on what they know you're going to expect.
Yeah.
So it's very cleverly done. It's got a great score. It's just great. I gave this movie 4.5 stars, and I am stingy with my stars, guys. Stingy. I thought this was great. This is one I have to own. This is one I'm probably going to watch every year.
Makes a great stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
All right. Let's, for almost the same reasons, I feel like we need to talk about, I guess it's low on your list here, which is weird.
Hey.
Where's Toxic Avenger?
Oh, he didn't show up. No.
Where is
Oh my
it?
gosh, what's happening? It's not
There it
on
is.
my list. You're bright. It just doesn't show up as horror on here.
That's why I was very surprised, because just...
You're surprised.
I know you said a lot of the same things you said about that movie about this movie.
This movie dropped down like 3 times.
But you're not a big fan of how kind of sleazy and grimy the original is.
I'm not a fan of how sleazy trauma movies are. I don't mind a bit of sleaze. If you're going to drop dong or show some boobs, that's all good with me. I don't really like SA being used for comedic effect. Not saying I judge anybody who does like movies like that, you know, but just for me, that's just something I don't enjoy. And Trauma does that a lot. Trauma also does a lot of, like, racist jokes and stuff that just something I've aged very well.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Trauma's always been, in a sense, like, inviting with the, you know, people who are considered black sheeps of society. But they've had some stereotypes that don't age well.
Also, you guys know when you're hanging out with people who've been friends for a really long time and they have inside jokes and they're constantly like, yeah, you know? And they're just, and you don't know what the fuck's going on. Trauma does that a lot. Like, Trauma is its own biggest fan. That's where they have movies like Trauma's War and stuff, and they're always big on the people of Traumaville. And you can tell that they have tons of their friends in the movie, and it feels like we're not really in on the joke sometimes, or at least you're not in on the joke if you're not a rabid Trauma fan.
Yeah, they've had their own Trauma shared universe before Marvel and DC were ever doing that, really. But that can be frustratingly annoying for some people. I like the original. I love it. I've even bought the copy I have on DVD from Lloyd Kaufman himself. But I was very actually happy with this. I was told like last year that it wasn't going to be released because it was unwatchable, and I'm like, really? It can't be that bad. Put it out. And
yeah, I was excited because like Elijah Wood had helped produce it. He helped produce like Greasy Strangler and stuff. He loves horror. And Peter Dinklage is in it. We've never had a little person superhero before. So
Not
yeah,
to this extent.
Super excited.
So yeah, it's a great hero movie like the original, but also extremely violent, and I feel like it's definitely more relatable to nowadays, where the original is great, but it's very much a time capsule of that 80s.
I think what I loved about this is they have very unique characters who, while they were different, were really relatable. So Peter Dinklage's character, Toxie, his Winston, he has a stepson, and his wife has passed away from cancer. And so when he gets sick, he knows he needs to get help because he can't just leave his stepson. He has nobody else. And this kid's kind of awkward and reminded me of my kid. So I loved that, like his kid's doing this like performance thing at school, but he gets really nervous. And just how much you can see that this guy believes in his kid and wants to be there for him, even though he doesn't know, they don't always get each other. But yeah, he's just really cool. It's also, like I said, really cool to see a little person in a movie like this where they're not, their size isn't a source of like fun or something to be made fun of. Like,
the movie
he's
never
a legitimate superhero.
Yeah, the movie never takes that as a joke. There's some shitty people in this movie for sure, but the movie itself.
Kevin Bacon's in this. You got Jacob Tremblay in it as his stepson. He's really sympathetic. Yeah, I was kind of nervous too because, like, you know, his makeup and stuff is like so different than the other Toxie, but they find ways of like bringing in the tutu and bringing in stuff you love from the original. But it's just got so much more heart. I feel like the jokes really land. Trauma's really on that edgy humor thing, which makes sense. It was largely popular in the 90s, but I don't think you need to like punch down on other people to be funny. Like, I don't like this idea that a lot of people have where like comedians can't tell jokes anymore.
Right.
Like, you can tell jokes without shitting on other people. You can tell jokes that everybody can be included in, and this movie does that. Like, it's gross and funny and ridiculous and absurd,
but maintained punch upward, I felt.
Yeah, like, just it's just really a good time, you know. And the things I love about Trauma, like I love gross out humor. I love gross out scares. I love a movie that drops dong. Yeah, this movie had it.
Yeah, I felt like the humor, for me, was always great. Just from like him thinking like there's like a doctor who has wise words, and that person's just kind of like insane, and he figures that out. That kind of humor just was great for me. I like the gore and violence, like some gross stuff, like you said. He looks obviously pretty gross most of the time. Honestly, wouldn't mind if they make a sequel of this.
And Peter Dinklage, I'm also impressed at how well he acted with all the makeup on. I think it's really hard because I think our best actors, and I would include Peter Dinklage in that, are good at have those little micro expressions. That something small with their eyes or their face to act, and it's hard, I think, when people have a lot of stuff on their face to really express nuanced emotion. And it's even harder when the tone of the movie is so completely absurd. Yeah. But he does a very good job in this movie.
But don't remake the sequels to Toxic Avenger. Make if anything you want to tackle is that maybe that Saturday morning cartoon, but like with this edgy humor, like the Toxic Crusaders. That would be a good sequel. I
kind of want them to do like a Killer Tomatoes movie in the same style.
Right? I love Killer Tomato movies.
But yeah, this was so bloody and so gross and so gooey and so toxic, and I just had so much. I laughed my ass off. So again, I need to rewatch it because sometimes you just have that experience. I cannot be trusted with comedy sometimes, because I remember I watched Corky Romano and I was like, that's the greatest thing ever, and I went and bought it and I rewatched it alone. I'm like, the movie's not that funny.
I love physical media, but I'll be honest, nowadays it's harder for you to like make me want to rush out and buy a Blu-ray or 4K version.
I do want to get this.
But this is one I want to own. So I say, own it.
Yeah, this is one that I could see having a friend over and be like, oh my gosh, you haven't seen the new Toxic Avenger? We're watching that, dude. Mm-hmm. So this probably, one of my favorite movies of recent years is Psycho Gorman. I think if you like Psycho Gorman, you like that kind of humor, this you'll like.
And there's also just some movies that have touched in on like the economy lately. We're somewhat victims of that, but a lot of movies were maybe a little too close to home and they were kind of depressing to watch, even if they were really good. This movie, I feel like, tackled some of that stuff, but gave me hope. Like,
Truth, Haunted by Horror. Actually, you know what you could do? Here's a crossover out of frickin' nowhere. The new Bambi movie had a toxic waste lake that made Bambi and Thumper and a lot of the animals kind of mutated.
Yeah, we talked a little bit of that on yours, but honestly, I liked it enough to where in that Pooh verse, it's my favorite, and just because it was a Toxic Avenger Bambi. Like, it didn't even need to be called Bambi, it just was a Toxic Avenger movie about woodland creatures.
We need Toxie to go take Bambi out, man.
Or ride him as a mighty steer.
Ride him as a mighty steed.
Yeah, steed, and like just kill people with Bambi.
You need a Dio song for that moment.
Exactly. Even if it's just kind of a Jack Black version of a Dio song, fine, whatever. Just give it to me. Yes.
But yeah, and then put some Killer Tomatoes in that. Have the tomatoes fall in the toxic waste. Dude, we're cooking now. Woo!
Yeah, all kinds of stew there.
Yeah, I need my Hunky Boys back too. I would love a Psycho Gorman sequel, but if you haven't seen Frankie Frico, it's by the same people.
Let's talk about that.
And it was a good time.
It's not super high on my list, but let's talk about it. Frankie Frico. It was a little higher on my list than yours.
I didn't love it as much as Psycho Gorman, but okay, here are things I do love. I love freaking puppets. That's a sure way to get all the love from me. I love puppets and goofy little hijinks that happen with puppets. And this guy calls like a 900 number, and he gets these little crazy puppets that kind of cat in the hat his house.
Yeah. Imagine like the 80s back when they'd always like call 1-900 and you'll hear some jokes, or you'll get to talk to a Boglin even. They had even Boglin 900 numbers. It's kind of like that, but it's like Frankie Frico. He's going to teach you how to party and have a good time.
And this guy is such a knob. Like, his wife's gone out of town, and he's like, oh, what am I gonna do? And just, it kind of did remind me of Cat in the Hat, because he calls this number, the Fricos come up, they destroy his house, and he's like, oh, crap, how are we gonna get all fixed up before the lady comes home?
His boss is the dad from PG Gorman, and I love that actor.
Brooks.
That guy is hilarious.
Adam Brooks!
His delivery is just so dumb, but it's so perfect. Like, panhandily, just plainly like, there.
When he can take something that on the page may not be jump out of your seat funny, and then his delivery makes it so good. Like, I love the part in PG Gorman where he's like, I made a delicious dinner for my family, and then he takes really long break. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Like, that's all his delivery. It's so good. Or he has that long speech about the time he went into a creepy guy's van to look at his baseball cards.
And he's like, it really worked out great for me, so maybe you should take a chance on your creepy guy. Like,
yeah, his delivery is everything. So
he does
I wish there was more of him in this, but this was fun. Like, if you love your mini monster movies, you love things like Munchies, Hobgoblins, Ghoulies, Go to College.
Yeah, it's that type of humor. You can tell, like, the director is reaching into those movies, how he reached into other similar things that inspired PG Gorman. And I'm hoping that we get a third, like, that's also in this kind of universe, because this feels like it's in the same universe. I can't say
really
for a
does.
fact that it is, because this one I think takes place in the 80s, but I still think it's the same universe.
Yeah. Mr. Flickster, you should make a video where you visit Psycho Gorman filming locations. I would be down to watch that.
That's really cool. So, I enjoyed this one quite a bit.
I liked it too.
All right. You pick one.
You don't tell me what to do.
Okay.
I'm an independent woman.
Yeah, you are. Independent. Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, why not? This started off the year pretty strong, honestly.
So Hard Eyes, it would be higher up on my list. This is a lot of fun. And I think a lot of the fun is down to just awesome chemistry between the two leads, Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding, who they are targeted by this Valentine's Day killer, Hard Eyes. He goes after couples. And for some reason, because they're in the same area together, they just got to work from the same place, he thinks they're a couple. So they have to kind of team up to help each other survive. But what's cool about this is just the brutal kills. You get a taste of that from the trailer. Absolutely delivers. I thought the mask was really cool. The reason it's not higher on my list is the killer reveal did not work for me. But everything up until then was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
Look! It turns the little smiley into a heart.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that when I added it to mine. I think the killer is more interesting when they're still the mysterious and they're wearing the mask. I didn't love the reveal, but I do like we got another fun like holiday Valentine's Day horror movie. It's kind of slim pickings on what you watch on Valentine's Day.
I can't show.
We went out and had a great date night when we saw it. I like the killer. I like the final girl. Well, I like the killer, like I said, more with the mask. And I love the kills. I like the final girl. It ticks some of those nominations for Oscar boxes for me, so I had a really good time. It wasn't amazingly high on my list, but I enjoyed it.
It was
Got the
exactly
year going.
what you wanted. What I would want from a Valentine's movie is I want a rom-com with blood in it.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. If you can throw in puppets or I don't know.
That's why I think it does even better than some of My Bloody Valentine, is it gives you that kind of rom-com.
But yeah, this was a
really
great
felt
rom-com.
like a cute
you
movie.
have these people who are thrown together, which is always called the one bed incident. Like if you read a lot of romance novels, they're like, oh, what are we gonna do? There's only one bed.
Right.
Gonna have to fall in love. That's what happens. But they kind of do that with these couple being forced together because they're being targeted by this killer. So it's really good. And you see the chemistry between them and you're like, okay, I want them to survive, but I also want them to fall in love and have a billion babies.
Yeah, so it gave you kind of both genres, where usually a Valentine's Day horror movie is a little too serious, and they don't really add those romance scenes in a lot of them.
And not just romance, but comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a cute rom-com.
It's a cute comedy.
A bloody slasher.
Exactly. Good match.
It uses the city well, too. They go in lots of different locations, so you're not just stuck in one area, which is something you don't see much, which made it a little more interesting. I really like Mason Gooding. I just think he's great.
Yeah, to get a horror movie off the ground.
Sawa.
I hate to say it, but nowadays, if you really want to get a horror movie off the ground, you basically have one location just to make it affordable. Mm-hmm. This one managed to have enough of a budget where they can do all kinds of cool stuff, and the kills were great. They were brutal and fun, so...
It's so hard to come up with a unique mask, too.
Yeah, so I liked it.
I would put this up there for, there's not a lot of Valentine's Day themed movies. I still think My Bloody Valentine takes the cake. But this I would put, I rank this higher than Valentine, and I like Valentine quite a bit. But yeah, crossover. There you go. Enjoy. Dun, 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 dun. Which one? Is this one on your list?
Nah.
Is this one on your list?
Let's see, what do I got here?
I could probably find something that's not on my list. Oh, I'm so hungry.
All right. We'll talk about it very quickly because we talked about it on yours. Put up weapons real quick.
Okay.
All right. I really like...
Have fun talking about this by yourself.
I know. I didn't have much to add when you were crapping on it in your stream.
Did I crap on it? I didn't crap on it. I took a dainty little lady poop on it.
What's the director's name? It's escaping me at the moment.
Zach Krieger.
Okay, Zach Krieger. So, he's going to be doing Resident Evil, and I liked this a lot. This is a 4-star movie for me. Yes, I agree with you. Barbarian was superior film. That's a 5-star for me. That's perfect. No notes with that one. This one, I agree. The reveal is kind of done it a million times. However,
you can listen to me take a dainty lady poop on it on our previous stream where we talked about the worst of 2025 over on my channel, Gory B Movie.
but I do love the mystery in this. I do love the build and suspense. There's some crazy stuff going on with a lot of weird characters, so I love his style. And yes, I think it's a kind of diminishing returns the more he's going to make movies like this. But I'm very excited to still see how he takes Resident Evil.
See, this is what I'm worried about. I'm worried he's already been Shyamalanized. Which, yeah, I just made up that word.
I heard, though, he is going to take a more straightforward approach with Resident Evil, so we will see.
See, with M. Night Shyamalan, when he released The Sixth Sense, I feel like then every time he made a movie, they expected that big twist, because everyone loved the twist.
Yeah.
And the more he tried to duplicate that, I think the farther away he got from the greatness of that movie.
Yeah.
And I think he's had hits since then. I'm actually a big fan of him. But with Weapons, I think he duplicated a lot of the things he did with Barbarian, and they didn't necessarily fit here. Like, Barbarian is told from multiple points of view and different timelines. And with Barbarian, it works really well. In this movie, I didn't think it was necessary, and I didn't think it contributed anything.
I would disagree because there's a lot of people trying to figure out this mystery. So I do kind of like how there's a few different point of views. I maybe stretched it too thin because there's a lot of point of views where Barbarian had less.
But the way they do it, where they go so far back with each person, it feels like we're treading a lot of the same territory again and again and again. And I didn't think there was a reason to revisit the exact same scenes, but from a different person's point of view. Kind of made me think of like when they released 50 Shades of Grey. Grey, from Grey's point of view. Like, nobody cares, dude.
I didn't care about the first release of any of that. 50 Shades of I don't give a shit.
We did all give a crap about Midnight Sun, which was from Edward's point of view.
I didn't care about
Twilight
that either.
Is our state's gem, Dan.
I don't want to hear what's in Edo the pedo's head.
You know what, Daniel? You will embrace the love of Twilight that is bequeathed to you from this state of Washington, or you will be kicked out.
He's a 100-year-old vampire. She's a high school girl. Gross. Anyways.
Anyway, we're off topic. So
yes.
Weapons.
I agree. I'm not going to say what it is, but when you find out what it is, you're like, oh, okay. It's done pretty and like stylistically, but had that payoff before, and they don't really give you much of an answer why, so it's just generic. However, the solution to get rid of that is amazing and epic and is super violent. I thought Barbarian had this crazy, insane scene of violence at the end. This one, I think, even tops that. So if that's what you are looking for in a payoff, you're going to not be disappointed there.
I just feel like the reveal wasn't that impressive.
The reveal?
It was basically like if you were to say, like, okay, everybody here, I want you to come up with no crazy answers. What are the things you think are happening here? And it would be one of the more common answers people would give you. So it wasn't at all surprising, and they didn't really let it cook that much.
I agree.
There's one thing that happens in movies a lot, and you guys have seen my channel at all. You will know that it annoys me when a certain kind of character is used as a villain and they don't give it any more explanation other than, well, duh. And that's kind of what's done here. Now, I know they're making a prequel about the person who's responsible for the stuff in Weapons, and that might be more interesting.
I feel like it did give us some. It just still wasn't nearly as satisfying as it could be. Maybe the prequel will help with that. I don't want the prequel that much, to be honest. I'm not super into that. I'm more interested in what he's going to be doing with Resident Evil, but we'll see.
I just didn't understand why, unless it's the whole,
I mean, I got why. It's, but I don't want to spoil it. It's just kind of your typical what baby paste does.
Dude, we're not all obsessed with baby paste.
I know, right?
Jesus.
But, like I said, some people are really drawn to that character, so maybe we'll see. I'll wait till judgment on the prequel.
I didn't hate it. I gave it 3 stars. 3 very generous stars. And there were parts of this that made me laugh. I liked what's his butt in it. What's his name? Aiden, Ellen, whatever.
Yeah. I gave it 4 stars. I like it. Like I said, Barbarian, 5 stars. So
Aiden Elrich Horrors. I liked him in it. He was really good. And there were some virusy moments in this that, you're like, oh, dude, when he gets, he has nothing to do with the main plot, but he gets, stabbed with a drug needle.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
just
then you have other people, puking and stuff, all that stuff.
I felt like there was some good gore and violence that really did make me flinch, so. And that, I love the ending. Like I said, why something's happening, not that interesting. How to get rid of that ending, or that not so happening, why?
Brandon, honey, I've talked to you about baby paste many, many times. I feel like I have.
I got so much baby paste, it's clogging in my volcano.
Shut up. That's a different kind of baby paste.
My baby paste requires draining.
Stop talking about your volcano on YouTube. You can get demonetized.
Just quoting GORY. Anyways, let's maybe pull out our top 2 here, though. I think we can agree that these might be...
Fine.
Well, I mean, Toxic Avenger was probably my number 1, to be honest. But...
Well, then. Can we talk about one that's just hardly overrated?
Oh, we like it enough. It's high on our list compared to being low, but...
I guess that's what I have to say about Weapons. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. I think it's massively overrated. I thought it was decent. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So, Frankenstein, a lot of people love this movie.
Overrated, if you ask me.
And if you're going to make it this long, just make it like a mini-series or something.
If you're mad, just unsubscribe from this channel.
It's too long to be a movie. It could have been okay, I guess, as a mini-series, because then I could have had like just 40 minutes of this and take a break.
It was a little too stylish, a little too polished, and I think when you make a period piece, it's a different kind of baby paste too. When you make a period piece too polished, it takes you out of the era. I think it should be more like, I don't know, it's a little too polished, a little too glamorous. I don't understand the frickin' Jacob Elordi and his GQ model. He's like a GQ model mixed with one of those Prometheus engineers. Like, look at my abs.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, the Frankenstein monster should not be sexy. He's supposed to be so terrifying that people want to kill him on sight. He should look like Adam Scott. They could have just cast Adam Scott in this thing.
No makeup needed.
And I would have been like, I get that, because I too want harm to come to him just upon looking at his visage.
Adam Scott's face is like Butters' like yearbook photo. Where his parents are just like, why'd you make that ugly, horrible face, Butters?
Why? Why are you doing that? Stop looking so smug all the time.
You love to smell
At
your
any
own
rate,
farts.
I also don't like the changes they made to this. Like, they made a lot of odd changes. And I think they could have done more with things like, Mia Goth's character in it.
Yeah.
I'm not hating it. I gave it 3 perfectly fine. It's decent stars.
You get 2 Mia Goths, but I still felt
Why is it on
like...
everyone's best of the year list? Because, nah, dog. Nah.
I mean, it's higher on my list than it is lower. Like, it's closer to the top, but it's still very much in the middle for me.
It's in my belly button, with my belly button lint, where it belongs.
It's tucked underneath the boob for me. Like,
Dude, that's where it gets all sweaty and gross.
Yeah.
And also linty. You know there's lint underneath your
and
boobs?
like a bra, which is very useful, it can hurt more than it, helps. So that's how I feel about this. It kind of hurt me.
I feel like this was a lot of unrealized potential, because you have very, very talented people in this movie. And you have very, very passionate people behind the camera. I love Guillermo del Toro.
He loves Frankenstein. Clearly, this is his King Kong that Peter Jackson always wanted to make.
Well, what was the heck was that whole, and then his heart grew 3 sizes thing? You know what pisses me off more than anything in this world, aside from Adam Scott? When anybody's heart grows 3 sizes. I hate it. It makes me angry.
Right?
I think I'm just too curmudgeon-y for that kind of love.
And he already, I felt like, tackled a very similar movie with Pinocchio, so...
Yeah, dude.
It wasn't much of a difference. Not my favorite of his movies, but I love that he got to make it. And it is a very beautiful looking movie, except for when there's random CGI wolves that look like shit.
But dude, I'm not mad at it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just disappointed, which we all know.
But I want to talk about some of the good things about it. Mia Goth, great.
Fine.
She did 2 great performances. I felt like they could have done more with her performances. She's in it twice, but I felt like we didn't get to develop her either way. I love how she's wearing her wedding dress is very much a tribute to the bride's gown from Bride of Frankenstein with the bandages on the arms. She did great. The doctor is clearly the villain in this, which I always thought he was, and I feel like the movie does a good job of showing that. But Frankenstein, like you said, too pretty.
Changed a lot of stuff. So in the book, Frankenstein kills people too, and that's the thing. They destroy each other, not just physically, but in their souls. They corrupt each other's souls. And it's really heartbreaking and complicated and worth exploring. And in this one, they're like, no, hot Jacob Elordi Frankenstein does not do any of these things.
Yeah,
but,
he's
just a sympathetic villain.
He's a superhero almost.
I
He
mean,
has like
honestly, he is.
Wolverine healing abilities, super strength, like he's the Hulk smash, but just beautiful. Like beautiful corpse.
And, know what? Adam, there was no dong in this. You got Jacob Elordi walking around like a freaking GQ model. You gotta show me his abs, and you're not gonna have him drop dong? Like, I paid good money for this. I mean, I didn't. I watched it on Netflix, but come on, drop the dong. You got freaking Oscar Isaacs running around all naked, and you're gonna show me his, like, happy trail, but you're not gonna drop the dong? Don't tease us with the dong, all right? That's as bad as side boob. That's a freaking crime.
Right? His abs and the lower pelvis.
I'm not saying I'm a perv. I don't need to see Jacob Elordi naked, but if you're gonna tease it, you might as well drop it.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Final Girls. They did all that teasing and they just didn't show it.
That wasn't their fault.
I know, but that's what.
That's
why it annoyed me.
Dongs either. I want to see anybody's dong. I was happy when I got to see Nosferatu's dong. I was like, thank you. I've never seen Nosferatu's dong before. Now I know what it looks like.
I feel like Lily Munster did the right thing passing on that when she did her smasher pass.
Exactly.
So, Frankenstein, beautifully made, but for me, just pretty art, not much of a movie.
It's style over substance.
And all these subplots go nowhere, I feel like. Like, there's subplots with a weird quadruple with Mia Goth's character. Like, him, his brother, and the Frankenstein monster all love the same character, and it just kind of ends and they move on. There's other things that I feel like they just have, but move on. I'm like, okay, what was the point of that?
And Mia Goth's character, like, I don't know, she didn't have a lot of chemistry with Oscar Isaac's Frankenstein. I really was kind of shipping her and the Jacob Elordi's Stein.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. And the biggest crime with this one, the biggest crime of all, is so much passion went into making the sets and stuff. So much money clearly went into that.
Some of the best sets I've seen all year, probably.
And they really phoned it in with the CGI. The CGI wolves look awful. I'm glad they didn't use real wolves. I don't like to see animals in any situation where they can be potentially harmed. They don't enjoy it. But use good CGI, guys. Come on.
Also, what we said about dangerous animals earlier. I just don't like it when animal is evil because animal.
Exactly.
Like, why are they evil animal wolves? Like, they're just because CGI wolves are very angry all the time.
And if you're gonna have Mia Goth all creeping up on Jacob Elordi, like, where's the payoff, dude?
Right.
They could have done a cool actual Bride of Frankenstein thing and had to get all necrophilia at the end. But no, they had to Netflix it.
Yeah, like I said, make it a mini-series, and then we could have got some of those payoffs, maybe, to some of the things they set up.
I mean, because that's the thing, guys. I've seen a lot of Frankenstein movies, and I've never seen Frankenstein dong. That's what this movie could have given us.
Poor Igor didn't deserve it.
And there isn't even an Igor in Frankenstein. His name's Fritz.
Right?
How come, they got to fix that. They should have brought Fritz back.
Well, it's funny because... I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
I am interested in Maggie Gyllenhaal's bride, and you know what?
Yes.
I bet she is gonna let some. What is the point of making him hot if he's not gonna at least get some Mia Goth action?
Or any action. Dig up a hot corpse for him. Corpse bride that shit.
What's the point of making him all GQ Prometheus model? Nah, dog.
Yeah, right?
Nah. Either let him be a monster and freak people up, or let him be hot Frankenstein's monster and get his necrophiliac on.
It's funny because a lot of people always remember Igor, which isn't in there, and a lot of people do the reference of the not Boris Karloff walk of Frankenstein. When what's his name plays him and he's blind.
It's because Fritz's brain is in the body, and they explain that he can't see, so he's blind.
Yeah, but that's what everybody always remembers.
Which is Bela Lugosi's portrayal.
That's technically Bela Lugosi Frankenstein. Everybody always does.
We could get into a whole universal thing, but not my Frankie.
And Frankenstein is the name of the doctor and the monster. All right.
Yeah, FJ.
The movie/book isn't called Dr. Frankenstein.
You know who is my Frankenstein? Frankie Stein from Monster High.
She's my Frankie Stein too.
I love her. Angel Among Us.
Her and Draculaura.
I know. I just adore them both.
All right.
This one.
Yeah.
This one. This one.
That one.
This one. This one.
That one.
Huh?
Yeah. All right. Your favorite.
This was one of the first movies we saw this year, and I would say this is my number one. I gave this and one other movie I gave 5 stars to, and that is Companion. I think this is a lot of fun if you go in blind. I kind of am bummed the posters spoil it a little bit. I went in blind and I liked the pleasant surprise to it. But I thought Sophie Hatcher and Jack Quaid did a great job. But even if you're able to figure out what is going on with the companion, so to speak, there is still another whole layer of mystery and reveal here. And it's just great. I love their little dance. that they do. We did that for our sketch for the Oscars last year.
You guys nailed it.
Yeah, I love Harvey Gillian in it. This was just fun. Like, this was a perfect, also, like, date night type movie because it's got the romantic comedy elements, like the meet cutes and all that stuff, and it's just adorable.
Well,
but then it's also true horror where people get messed up.
And there's a lot of AI craze out there right now, and it's getting to the point where I'm so over it. Like, but Shaun of the Dead was a good example. Like, I'm like, oh, a zombie movie. I love Shaun of the Dead. I'm like, okay, cool, that was great. Same thing with Zombieland and a few other ones that have just been amazing regardless of that. So many of them. There's a lot of these AI movies where the evil AI takes over. This one spins it on its head, and I'm like, all right, I'm actually interested in this. I went into it thinking, okay, AI movie. That's basically all I kind of went into it.
Dude, maybe they don't know it's an AI movie.
Oh.
It kind of advertises that.
Well, damn. I already talked about it, so you find out that pretty early on.
But yeah, even if you know that they're basically, the companions are kind of like those dolls people order.
I don't know how it's an AI movie.
That have AI in them. There's a lot more to it than that. As far as what they understand about themselves, their ability to think and feel, and then what is the actual conflict in the movie.
Yeah, and like I said, just when I thought I was done with that genre, I didn't explain how it was that genre, it brings me back in. So.
And that's the thing, like what Mr. Flickster's saying, we have seen a lot of those, like, you know, robot or AI or synthetic type movies, and it's the same thing, you're right, Chris, where they want to kill the people because they can't get what they want, because they're programmed to want something. So if they're programmed to want a particular person to be their mate, then they'll do anything to get them. Or like Megan, she will do anything to protect the girl. And in this, it was the first time where I thought they had an AI or synthetic character that I was like, well, I mean, I know they were created by humans, but it made me really sympathetic to them. And even though I don't understand how their consciousness works, it made me think, well, how is it much different than mine? Mine's just electricity running around in my meat matter. So I was really sympathetic to the companion characters in this, and I was really rooting for them, even though a lot of movies, I never cared about Megan. I don't think of Megan as a living being.
Well, she was the villain anyways. Yeah, they've made her a little more fun in the sequel, but that's not even a horror movie.
But even then, I don't like cry about it. It's definitely, she's supposed to be a hero in the second one, and I'm not attached to Megan in that way. I just don't think of her as a living being with true feelings. She has programming. Whereas in this, I really cared about the companion character. They
had like a boom of movies that, well, some of them are even separated pretty far, but like Bicentennial Man and AI itself. But those aren't horror movies, and those are a while ago when that was that. Johnny Five was my favorite when I was growing up. But it's nice to see some of that in the horror movie, doing it differently than anything else.
And Mr. Flickster, the dinosaur dance scene, it took me forever to learn that. Me and Kayla did that, and we did that at the end of our sketch for the Oscars. So you can watch just the sketch over on my channel, GORY Movie. But yeah, we do the dance at the very end of our Oscars Best Book presentation.
Yeah, and if you are a member of this channel, I have it to where all the skits and just skits. There's nothing like else if you don't want to see the live stream. Even though, that's fun too.
But yeah, this was really good, and I also liked how it had commentary on like romantic comedies and stuff. Like at the beginning, you're like, okay, that's a little like, cliche and stuff, but it's intentionally done so. So just like how I think Scream was so good and so smart because of how well it understood the slasher genre, this movie is so good and so smart because of how well it understands rom-coms.
Exactly. They know how to incorporate that, change it up, and make you care.
Yeah. And I think at this point I'll watch Sophie Thatcher in anything.
Yeah, I think she's won me over. And Jack Quaid's usually a prick in certain things, but he's a very talented prick.
Did you know prick's another word for dong?
Ha ha, which is also a wangdoodle.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about probably everyone would agree that's on here. I think it's our favorite that we agree on.
I finally watched it, guys. So for so many streams, I haven't seen Sinners yet. My biggest complaint with this movie, it was over 2 hours long, and I'm pretty good at if I'm in the cinema to pay attention for 2 hours. But with ADD, 2 hours is hard for me. But I did finally watch this, and I will say this: I had notebook paper and drawing paper and stuff out just to help me stay focused. But after the movie got going, I'd say a good 10-15 minutes into it, I was invested enough that I was not distracted. I had my attention, and that's really sometimes hard to do. A lot of times I have to get up and go get a snack or something just because I just need something to do. It's hard for me to just sit there and watch a movie for that long without my mind wandering, and this movie did a really good job of keeping my attention.
I think we answered that, didn't we?
What?
That question there.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, how do we feel about the companion commenting on AI?
I also gave Fresh 5 stars. I thought they were both fantastic. And I think if you're going to go into horror rom-com, they're both...
Oh, yeah, Fresh was great.
At the top.
Fresh was great, too. That's, what, 2 years ago?
But this movie is gorgeous, and I love when horror is taken very seriously and they put the money into it to make it as good as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
So the cinematography is top-notch. The music is so amazing in this. Michael B. Jordan plays 2 different roles fantastically.
Yeah.
Smoking
stacks, and they're both likable for their own ways.
It's so interesting, and I even was like, it was really good.
It takes place in the 30s, but it's still got like a more modern day, like, because made nowadays, like until, what was it?
Well, they worked for Al Capone, so it's not like the 40s.
No, it's the 30s, I believe it even says it is. During Prohibition and stuff.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But it's just...
But yeah, these brothers, they grew up in this small town, and then they went away to work for Al Capone and do a whole bunch of stuff, and now they're back with buttloads of money
that they've kind of stolen. They think it'll, like, they won't be, they think they did it sneak enough to where everybody's gonna be blaming each other, and they just disappeared. Will that be true? I don't know. Can they find, like, freedom in this world that wants to suppress them? You're not sure, but it's such a... honestly, you could take the vampires out of this movie and it'd just be a great movie. I'm so glad they're in there because I love that it's a horror movie.
I do think that anybody who's seen From Dusk Till Dawn, and guys, at this point, I think you guys know, if you're horror fans, like, there's vampires in this. So just like there were people who watched From Dusk to Dawn, they're like, I liked it until there was vampires. There's going to be people who feel that way about this too.
Yeah.
But I feel like the vampires are an important part of how the story is explored. And really what I think this movie is about more than anything is about music.
Mm-hmm.
And how music, it talks about how music can
express yourself freely,
be magical, and sometimes that magic can attract dark forces.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why is I think whenever somebody has like a true gift to really bring people together and stuff, there's always somebody who wants it.
And in different ways, lots of life does not want you to be free for different reasons. Like religion doesn't want you to think freely. Obviously, you know, white people enslave black people. That's obviously a part of this. There's like KKK elements into this. But there's lots of things. Like people, even if you are like talented at something, someone wants to harvest your talent for them. There's no really being free from anybody. Like so much of things does not want to keep you
treated like a tool. But they open this club with the money they have, and then their cousin is a really good blues musician, so good that it attracts the attention of this vampire who's stumbled into town.
Yeah, and he's like
they're also talented musicians, and initially they turn them away because they're white and they don't want it causing any problems with, like, you know, anybody starting a fight or whatever that's going to make the law come down on them. But they do also need the money
to run their...
Yeah, to be successful. And so eventually you have this situation where these vampires are trying to come into the club, and, you know, if anybody goes outside, they get changed and stuff. But it's crazy because I think the vampires are also sympathetic in their own way, like not in a, you know, like our state's treasure Twilight, but
yeah, right.
The vampires also seek community, and I think that's why the vampires are attracted to music, because music brings people together. And there's a really beautiful scene in here where you see how the music has tied them to their past ancestors, but even to future generations. Like you see like beatboxers mixed with like people doing drumming and stuff, and it's really, really cool. And how music has this transcendental power to bring people together. And the vampires, I think, because they are so hollow inside, because their soul is basically taken away, they seek that community that music can bring, but it doesn't give them the same satisfaction that real music does. And that's why they want to get this guy Sammy.
Yeah, the vampires have multiple hunger. Obviously they will drink blood, but they have a hunger to devour souls because they're so empty, like you said. They want to make everybody a vampire, which they actually have some more pure intentions in their own thought process than humans do. And they point that out. They're like, humans can be ugly and discriminate. Once you're all vampire, we're all equal and we're all up, but they're all hollow. It's like they're thirsting for their own goal.
Well, and the vampires, the thing is,
they're not free-minded.
They are not prejudiced at all. You know, like the one guy who's the leader of it, he's from Ireland, and he was cast out of his land too. Yeah. they're not prejudiced at all, but they also have no identity, because once you become a vampire, you are mentally connected like the Borg to every single one in that bloodline.
Like I said, there's so many...
your personal identity is completely erased, especially in the beginning, I think, when you're really, really, like, newly turned. So yeah, they're just like of one mind, and I think it also calls to mind other institutions. Like, it's so much more complicated than just like saying, like, I've seen people reduce this to, oh well, you have the white vampires versus the black humans, and it's really so much more layered than that, and that's not it at all. It makes me think of like a lot of institutions that erase people's personal identity. Where, like, you know, like in church, you know, you're all kind of taught to not think as an individual, but
you all
like
worship the way we tell you to worship.
Businesses, a lot of corporations, there's so many things that
wants to steal your freedom,
individual identity, and that is your freedom. And and I think that's why they're attracted to the music, because music, like really good music, elevates people.
But I mean, when that lead vampire does that whole pitch, like, you're like, damn, that's not a bad pitch. I mean, obviously you don't want to join the vampires, but he is right about a lot of things. However, you'd still be giving up yourself.
They have the knowledge and skills of everybody else in their bloodline. So if they were to turn Sammy, the blues musician, into one of theirs, then they would have knowledge of all of his songs and all of his music,
all of his thoughts. So
there's something to that, but it also kind of made me think of the book. I guess they made a movie of it too, The Host by Stephanie Meyer. So in that, you had this alien race, and they go after planets where people are warring, and they're completely peaceful. And they think they're doing a good thing by essentially being body snatchers and taking them over so that they no longer fight.
No more violence. Everything
but then they realize, at least one of them realizes, well, but then it's not real peace, because you're taking away who they are. And that's what's happening in this. They may be more peaceful, they may not be racist or whatever, but they're also eliminating their identity.
Exactly. And it's like, that's the whole thing with the Borg in Star Trek anyways. There will be no wars in outer space if everybody be Borg, right? Well.
And this is a 2-hour movie with so much in it. We're just talking about like the theme of it, but it's just beautiful cinema. There's so many things I love about this movie. Like, I love that one of the female leads in this is like a really, big gal. They also have Haley Steinfeld in it too, who's, obviously more of the traditional image of modern day beauty and stuff, but I was interested because she plays a mixed race person in this movie. I was like, is she actually mixed race? And she is. So I thought it was cool that they actually went to the work of hiring a mixed race person for that role. She also has the best freaking lines in this movie. She's so foul-mouthed, and I loved it. I learned a new word for vagina. I can now refer to a vagina as a coos because of this movie. Thank you, Haley Steinfeld.
Like From Dusk Till Dawn, which is also a great movie, even with or without vampires, but you spend so much time with these characters, and then when vampires attack and when people die for whatever reason they die, you really care, and like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, you're sad to have it go down that way, but you just kind of know it has to.
You don't even get to spend a lot of time with these characters, but they show you just enough of who they are that I feel like you do care about them, even though you don't spend a whole lot of individual
They're
time
well
with
developed,
them.
though.
And even the two brothers, they're not, the movie's called Sinners. They're not good guys.
Yeah.
But I feel like you do care about them, and you certainly understand that they've experienced a lot of hardship in their lives.
Yeah, you understand their motives, you understand what they want, and even if they've done bad things and they're willing to do bad things, what they want is just to be free and enjoy themselves. They deserve that. Everybody should deserve that. And in a world where you constantly have to fight that everywhere, like, everything wants to take that away from you. So
they have like an abusive father and stuff. They just want to make a club where people can have a good time and enjoy music and not have people hassling them.
And their cousin, like, his dad's a preacher who wants him to put down the guitar and pick up the Bible, and like, he doesn't want that. He just wants to be himself.
But I think it's also just the escape that you can get from any kind of art. So in this movie, the big emphasis is on music, and particularly blues music. But I think people find that same escape and freedom through painting or movies, watching movies or making movies.
There's a very, like, psychedelic scene where all these generations are connected in one part of time through music, and they show like so many other different forms of music, and they're all just kind of rocking out together, and it's very a magical scene, and I love it. And you could take out of just like the character losing himself in his music and not have the magical part of it, I guess. But it's just really good, and I like how it expresses that. Everybody, like, from generations, not just them in this movie, but throughout time, have escaped and used this musical to feel free and express themselves in the most free way possible.
Well, and I think for me, I'm more of a movie gal, but I understand that too. We talk all the time about how, like, you can see influences of other movies in every movie you watch. Mm-hmm. And it kind of ties the past and the present together when you watch film, because you can see the influences from other filmmakers, from other films, and even influences of, like, music and literature and stuff. And yeah, art has a way of doing that it makes it timeless.
I agree. And this movie shows that very well. And even if you take all that, like, freedom kind of metaphor out there, it's still just an action-packed good time with kick-ass killers, like killer vampires fighting killer gangsters.
Like the freedom that you get from the love of art and stuff. This movie,
expressing yourself.
Even though there's, like, Ku Klux Klan and stuff in this, like, yeah. I know a lot of people are very hesitant about things that they feel like are preachy or whatever. It's really not that. It's not like it's mostly, like, this movie is about music in the same way La La Land is about film. It's about this love of music. Mm-hmm. Really good music.
Like I said, there's so many layers of what freedom means in this movie. But music is, like, the big thing. Like, that is how you actually the most way to freely express yourself. Like art.
Yeah, I guess creative expression.
Yeah,
so.
Art in general. And it happens to be musicians for this because it's a great setting. So I don't know, I like it, but even if you take all that, like, freedom metaphoric stuff out and, like, it kind of went over your head or you just want to ignore it, it's still just a kick-ass movie about gangsters fighting vampires, and it's great.
Yeah, and it's got kind of like this Old West vibe to it, too, mm-hmm. Which also from Just Alone had a little bit, too, but, you've got people slinging guns around, and you got people dancing, and...
My favorite things about movies that take place in the 30s is you got a Tommy gun in there.
There's a freaking Tommy gun
love
in it,
Tommy
guys.
Guns.
Who doesn't love a Tommy gun?
In the digital circus where they all have guns, and he's like, I'm going to get that Tommy gun. That's just
I love it when the mask where he gets a Tommy gun. Tommy gun!
Yeah, Tommy guns
love it.
They jam up and they're not the most practical weapon, but they're the most satisfying weapon, I think.
Gunfights are usually kind of boring unless there's, like, a lot of, like, matrixy flopping around shit. Yep. But when you get a Tommy gun, like, that's just cinema, dude. Some things are just cinema.
I'll play any video game where I get to use a Tommy gun.
But I love that. I just, I love that the movie's mostly shot at night. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It does the horror well. It does the action well. It does the drama well.
Yeah, the acting is great. The cinematography is great. The music is outstanding. It's how it is. All the marks very high.
And a lot of times too, like, I'm kind of reluctant because I feel like right now a lot of people are cast because they're pretty and not because they're talented, and certainly not. Sometimes the pretty people are talented. I think Margot Robbie is very talented, but especially when there's a person who's A, pretty, and B, talented, they will put them in everything. That's why Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie and, they're put in a billion things in a year because they're the combination of pretty and talented. Whereas back in the day, you could just be talented. I don't think anyone accused Steve Buscemi of being pretty, right. But he still was in a lot of movies, and we had a lot of different kinds of people in it. Oh, yeah. But yeah, Michael B. Jordan is somebody who I don't see him in every single freaking movie, and is incredibly talented. And yeah, I think he's great.
Easy on the eyes for all the people that are into that.
And like the thing is too, like I said, like I think Margot Robbie is really talented, but should she be in Wuthering Heights and should she be in like 5 different movies a year? Probably not. Was she cast perfectly as Barbie? Yes. He's cast perfectly in this, and so is everybody else in the movie. They were cast perfectly for their roles. I've seen Haley Steinfeld in a lot of stuff too, but I think this movie was perfectly cast, and perfect casting isn't just like, well, who do we know that's talented and pretty? Like, right. No, who's actually going to live and breathe in this skin and make this character come to life in a way that feels real? 2
characters come to life and feel real.
This movie does that.
Maybe the only thing is slightly too pretty. Like, those teeth probably wouldn't be that white in the 30s, but whatever. Smallest, tiniest little nitpick.
All the special effects in this, and they have beautiful white teeth. Like
it's just like those glowing. 2 characters, to be honest, though.
And I just kept thinking of that episode of Friends where Ross gets his teeth too white. They're like, it's blinding me. Because nobody, I don't care how good your dental hygiene was. Nobody had teeth that white. The whole uber white teeth thing is a fairly modern thing.
Yeah, that wasn't happening in the 30s.
It wasn't even happening in the 90s.
I feel like most of the other characters were a lot more realistic, but his two characters a little too white on the teeth. That's the tiniest little nitpick I can find about this movie. Otherwise,
I was just like, wow,
perfect.
they put so much work into the makeup and special effects. They couldn't have just dirtied their teeth up just slightly. I'm not even saying make them dirty, just slightly not white, like
not
off-white.
super bright white. Anyways, the only nitpick I can really think of, though. Otherwise, great.
You can use my teeth as an example.
I have a feeling this is probably going to win some Oscars.
Everybody else had super straight teeth too, and again, I don't think a lot of people had braces.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh well. So.
Minor nitpick. It's one of those things. Like I also hate it when people wake up in movies and they have a face full of makeup. I hate it when people's teeth are too perfect. There's a lot of things. But that
happens in a lot of
But what
movies.
is also good about this too is sometimes I watch movies where it's set in a certain time period and the people there do not look of the time period, with the exception of their teeth being a little too perfect.
Oh yeah, I felt like I was in the 30s.
I feel like they did a pretty good job of making these characters look authentic. Whereas sometimes you'll watch a movie and they'll put like someone like who has a very modern face like Dakota Johnson in it, and it just takes you out. So
Yeah.
this movie, chef's kiss all around.
Yep.
Music is phenomenal, cinematography, directing, all the things. Like Ryan Coogler, just make all the movies, man, dude.
Yep. Can't really complain.
Yeah.
Just maybe
It's really good.
a little long, but I'm not actually. It flew by pretty quick once it got going.
But see, I get annoyed when something like The Conjuring is 2 hours long. Megan 2.0 was like 2 hours long. Sinners is a big epic movie.
With lots of characters, and they all get a time to.
2 hours.
I agree.
I didn't complain like even when Infinity War has got a lot of characters. Sometimes a movie is super epic, and I think you know that going into it because you're like, oh shit. Now when a movie's super epic, they make it 3 freaking hours long. You watch something like Oppenheimer, and you're just like, dude, eventually I'm going to have to pee.
Right.
Right? So I think this one's earned its runtime. And I think despite the long runtime, this is one I actually would revisit, whereas something like Frankenstein, which was insanely long, I will never watch that again. It's just way too long and way too slow, and I'm just going to stick to my Boris Karloffs.
It's beautiful, and there's a reason why we talked about it here on Best Of. There's a reason why, but yeah, it was long, and it felt long sometimes. We're Sinners. We put it off. That's one problem. We looked at that runtime, and we put it off for a while because of it. Once we watched it, though, I felt like it flew by.
The other thing, too, was I knew a lot of people really loved it, and I wanted to give it my full attention and sit down and pay attention to it. And so a lot of times, I'm like, oh, I'm a little tired. I'm not going to make it 2 hours. I don't want to fall asleep during this. But
Right. And unfortunately, I think it came out when we were
a lot
doing
of
our
putting
move.
it off, I'm saying, was respect for wanting to give it my full attention.
And the reason why we didn't see it in theaters is because when it came out, we were moving and we were broke because we had to put every little penny we had into moving. So.
Dude, we're always broke.
I know. For multiple reasons. All the time.
Life, man.
It's hard to get yourself a piece out of there. This world.
Yeah.
So, I can relate in a sense.
Yeah.
All right. Let us know down below. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for commenting. I appreciate you. See you guys all in the comments. But if you're
Mr.
just...
Flickster,
especially-
and Adam, 5 Point Station, and Brandon the Beldam.
If you're watching this in the replay...
Dude, Quirk came over.
Let us know, down and below. What were your favorite movies?
Down in the below, what'd you say?
Comment down below. Let us know what your favorite movies were, especially if you didn't catch this live.
And if you guys didn't see it, do check out the first part of this where we talked about the worst of movies of the year, especially if you love a good rant. Over on my channel, Gory B Movie. Link is in the description down below.
Yeah, we got a link down there. Give that a click. All right, but let's hope that this year starts off just as strong as last year, and hopefully it continues and even better than last year.
Yeah.
All right. Cut.